One of my friends told me that when you're writing, you're supposed to think that you're a genius. And I was like, no, when you're writing, you're supposed to think that you're the only genius. Anyway, I'm going to start off with a dream I had years ago. Ron Silliman approaches me in a bar. In case you don't know, Ron Silliman is a poet. He's kind of old, kind of big, kind of bald. Alright, so anyways, Ron Silliman approaches me in a bar. I like it rough, he says. I like it really rough. As quickly as we're talking, we're rubbing up against each other. I want you to shit in my mouth, he says. At first I was turned on, incredibly so. But now he's saying things like, I want you to stick a steak fork in my shoulder while we're fucking. And baby, you can rub vinegar into my asshole while I'm blowing you. And don't let my screaming stop you. There must be some sort of mistake, I tell him. I'm not interested. He looks baffled, then really offended. But I heard you were cool, he says. Zach Schomburg said you were really cool. I'm puzzled. And just so you know, Zach Schomburg is a young, successful, very charming, and very heterosexual Portland poet. Yeah, he continues. Zach Schomburg said you were tough. Really tough. He's right in my face now and his breath smells terrible. Zach Schomburg, I mutter? Yeah, Zach Schomburg, he shoots back at me, almost spitting through his teeth. The kid you went to high school with, the kid whose dog threw up over everything. Oh, I tell him, remembering a poem I read a long time ago. You're talking about David Berman. David Berman, the Silver Jew. I am not talking about David Berman, he growls. I am talking about Zach Schomburg. And Zach Schomburg's never steered me wrong. Alright, so anyway, I'm going to read some from my new book tonight. Usually I skip around and read poems from all around in it, and I read poems from my first book also. But tonight I thought I would try something different, just start at the beginning of the third section and just read from there. And the third section is called The Great Poet. It's not me. Spinning glorious, handsome, and weeping, like a fetus slow and heavy, I'm the beginning, clinging to myself, an animal I've skinned, carved up, crawled into, a dinosaur changing colors, slashed into light. Again and again, out of the cradle endlessly rocking, again and again the great poet strides onto a headland, red petals falling, and hangs himself in a tree, as bright as the 4th of July, a girl's voice in leaves of fire, arced overhead, from sea to sea, dribbling down on us all, sunsets, and all that trash. Dementia, melancholy, softly enameled, I don't give a fuck, it lights me up, crushed like stones circling, flies in a rage. I'm lifting my mask, scratched, slashed, nailed in my mouth, a sun's thick blood smears my wounds. When you aren't crying or cursing me out, you're begging me to come on your tits again. I should never have promised I'd stay here, in a prison, in a theater, eyes collapsed into one dead eye. But finally the sun, like a horse molten rock as it rises up to mate, the light, its shadows, our brains charred with pollen, rats gorged on coke, a whore posed in a field, or a kid, kite high, looped in rubber, Soweto gasoline fire in a tire. I'm on my knees again, wilted and black. Millions die, but here I am. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, cupped in my hands, rotted sperm and milk, touching each other like flowers born, feeding on carrion, draped in heat. It tastes heroic. Hacked down and skinned, a pile of bones. The world just eats and eats. Vulture color, in darkness throbbing, like a child spun round and round. I'm rising from the bath and covering myself with a towel. I'm lost, and I'm lost, but I'm in a room with the president, and he's on his knees, a long, thin, curved penis, and I'm talking him into orgasm. Hey, you're that guy, he whispers, who shoves souls up into his crotch. Buildings shimmer violently outside the window, like a fetus slow and heavy. Yes, that's me, I sigh. Yes, that's me. Bits of cum are falling everywhere. All right, I'm going to end with another dream. Ron Silliman and his dog are walking me through tall, dry grass. And the dog says, you know, it really hurts me to do this. Silliman says nothing. In the distance, a crude gallows has been erected, and I can see people getting out of expensive, dark cars. Look, I say, I'm not really sure what I've done, but couldn't I just write a couple of poems or a short symphony and we'll just call it even? Silliman snaps out a quick no and bounds on through the grass like a dog. And the dog puts his hand on my shoulders, looks deep into my eyes and tells me, I am really sorry, my little bird. I am really sorry. Thank you.